All right, go for it.
Good morning, everyone. It's the one and only V, the Guerrilla Economist, coming to you live with my main man, El Cuco. And he is working the airwaves, making sure this broadcast is coming out crispy and clean. You can check us out, roguemoney.net. Follow us on Twitter at The Rogue Money. Rogue Money on Facebook, YouTube, Steam it, every single podcasting app, Note to Humanity. Rogue Money on Apple News. And also, guys, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, comment below. It all helps us out. We're over 14,000 subs, and we are, well, see, there's that whole Japanese proverb about the koi that swims upriver.
Yeah.
And that swims up the waterfall, right? Because that's what we are. We're the koi that is swimming up the waterfall. And the parable goes that once the koi swims up the waterfall and he makes it to the top, he transforms into a dragon. So that's what we're doing here at Rogue Money. We're swimming up the waterfall, the currents of resistance, of censorship, you name it. So we're happy in this state of affairs to be at over 14,000 subs with over 4 million views on the channel. Love it. It's great. Thank you all for your love and support. And also, guys, check out our sponsors, RemainCom.net, RemainCom.net. Don't freak out, remain calm. Whether you need to get your credit score fixed or you need a funding for business ventures, you want to buy cryptos, you want to get investment, what the heck you want to do with your life, RemainCom.net is a place for you to get that done. And also check out thecryptoschool.io, thecryptoschool.io. That is the place to learn wallets, exchanges, trades, and then when you're ready to trade, join the trading room. Join the trading room and be blown away how lives are being transformed. And the ugliest crypto markets out there where everybody else is losing their shirts and panicking, our guys are out there making a killing. Thecryptoschool.io. Make it happen. Take charge of your life. And with that being said, Siege, what's cracking?
Hey, good morning, V. Doing great. Interesting that you went over those statistics because I was looking at that last night, and it's just amazing, V. When you look at all of our distribution channels, whether it's DTube, Steam It, iTunes, and don't forget about SoundCloud as well. Because we do allow our fans. You can download any of our shows in MP3, but just amazing the growth that we continue to see. So just want to send a shout out to our fans, in particular the people on Facebook that always messaging us and joining our shows, and then our live chat room as well on YouTube. So thank you guys. We really appreciate your support, and we love you for it. So thank you.
Absolutely, man. So we got a lot going on today, bro. I think it's that time, Siege, that we cue the music.
Yeah, let's cue it up because President Trump does not like doing the chihuahua with Maduras. So our first news article of the day comes to you courtesy of oil price. Trump bans the Venezuela oil-backed cryptocurrency. Cryptos are moving sharply lower in response to news that President Trump has issued an executive order banning the U.S. purchase of the Petro. And in case you didn't know, that's a cryptocurrency which infamously was rolled out by Venezuela government that comes as part of the campaign to put more pressure on the government of President Nicolas Maduro. Now, interesting, when Trump put out this executive order, there was just a tad confusion regarding the executive order because he titled it Executive Order on Taking Additional Steps to Address the Situation in America. So a lot of people were like, well, what's this executive order about? Because it So needless to say, if you were looking into the Petro and trying to buy the Petro, you're not allowed to any longer. So Nicholas can keep drinking his Maduro and doing his dance.
I love it, man. It's Nicholas, the sweetness, the bus driver, Maduro, the man who is completely out of ideas, the man who just doesn't get it, doesn't know when to quit, and he is out there trying to get his Petro. He wants people to adopt his Petro, which is funny. It's a power play here, but the thing is, it's like he's like, that's a cryptocurrency, but on whose blockchain?
Oh, no one's. That's the thing. It's not. It's really, yeah. It's great. Yeah. It's actually a good thing. You don't want to go delving into that, considering how corrupt he is, and
Yep.
not knowing the true premonition of what any type of return, if any, you would be getting on the Petro.
Exactly. Exactly, bro. It's great. This music is putting you in the mood for like a vacation somewhere tropical.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my god, I love it. Anyway, that is oilprice.com's article. Trump bans Venezuela's oil-backed cryptocurrency. I think it's hilarious. Nicholas the Sweetness Maduro is a man who he's like a motivated guinea pig. Okay, a motivated guinea pig. Nothing will stop this man from his crazy ideas. Nothing.
Nothing at all. No.
Oh man. Keep beating. We got to keep beating. We got to keep reminding the American people, our main guy, a real American hero, Dr. Ron Paul, on his great article here on the Ron Paul Institute, Pompeo and Haspel are symptoms of a deeper problem. President Trump's recent cabinet shakeups look to be a real boost to hardline militarism and neoconservatism. If his nominees are to the head of State Department and CIA are confirmed, we may have moved closer to war. This is exactly what we've been saying for quite some time, Siege. Before being chosen by Trump to head up the CIA, the Secretary of State nominee Mike Pompeo was one of the most pro-war members of Congress. He's been a militantly, hostile towards Iran, and many times has erroneously claimed that Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. I mean, when is this lie going to end? It's almost as grievous as the lies. They hate us for our freedoms. Because, CJ, every time I go to the airport and I'm being groped or being shoved through a detector and I have like drug sniffing dogs near me, I'm reminded how free I am, Siege. I'm reminded how free I am. At that time, when President Trump appears to set making history by meeting North Korean leader Kim Jong-un face to face, and this is exactly the point that we made, Siege. As soon as things were quieting down in the Korean Peninsula, what happens? Tillerson gets fired, and up pops Pompeo. Okay?
Yeah.
A man who's deranged mentally, who is only stuck on stupid. He's stuck on regime change. Okay? Not diplomacy. This guy's not a diplomat. He doesn't know nothing about diplomacy if it fell out of the sky and gave him a wedgie. He blames Iran rather than the 2003 U.S. invasion for the ongoing disaster in Iraq. He enthusiastically embraced the Bush policy of enhanced interrogation, which the rest of us call torture. It goes on and on and on, Siege. It's ridiculous, bro. What's your take?
Yeah, it is. And what I love about Dr. Paul is his ability to tie it all together, and he nails it at the end of the article where he specifically states for you that, let's remember that, we have a duly elected representatives in Congress for a purpose, and their purpose is to keep the balance of powers in check. And with having these characters come into play, it really is concerning because we know the lack of a spine, of a backbone there among the swamp to hold the Department of Justice, to hold the CIA, to hold these interventionists in check with the powers that they maintain. So we, the public, have to keep sharing this knowledge, sharing to the public regarding these two, warmongers. I mean, shoot, we might as well be putting John McCain and Lindsey Graham at the helm of these two offices, right?
Yeah,
really not much different. So Dr. Paul continues to push that, and at the end of his message is, hopefully Rand can talk to other senators, other representatives to make sure that when it comes time to confirmation, that they ask these people the tough questions, and the public can hear firsthand as far as the activities that they've been involved in.
Exactly right. Exactly correct. This is why we must resist. That's what the real resistance is, man. It's our disastrous luck. Unless we get rid of our murderous foreign policy. And our murderous foreign policy is kept alive because we have a murderous currency. Okay? Our currency is out of control. We have world reserve status because it's because the dollar fuels the murderous foreign policy, man. That's the problem. Okay. And unless we take the levers of control back from the money changers and the money powers, this will continue. This will just keep on continuing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
All right. It just keeps getting better. See, I don't know if this is fake news, real news, or whatever the thing is. It's at the end of the day, it is pure comedy. Trump prepared to hit China with a $60 billion in annual tariffs. President Trump is preparing to impose a package of $60 billion in annual tariffs against China. Siege, how many steel mills do we have in the U.S.?
Gosh, that's a great question. You want me to Google it, V, and find out? I would say
just
probably.
Google it.
Okay, yeah, I'll Google it.
Ask Google. Ask your phone. Your phone probably
Okay.
know.
Yeah, let's see here. How many steel mills are in the United States?
According to Wikipedia, in 2017, there were 9 operating integrated steel mills.
Stop right there. Just stop.
Okay.
Stop.
Integrated mills.
Stop. Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Integrated steel mills.
There you go, folks. So he's just trying to,
Okay.
stop his Google Assistant. His Google Assistant's going nuts. But you heard the number. 9 operational steel mills of practically no type of capacity to support industry. Okay? Look, I'm all about... See, if I were to negotiate a trade deal, I'd be like, listen, I'm going to hit you with tariffs. No. I'm going to be like, listen, here's the deal. We are one of the largest markets in the world in consumerism. I will try to swing that way, even though the American consumer is tapped out and overextended on credit. I would say, hey, we are a big market. Why don't you cut us a better deal so we have a mutually beneficial trade agreement? $60 billion on tariffs. What happens to the cost of everybody and every man? We made this point so many times, CJ. Every single manufacturing company that is reliant upon steel.
Oh yeah, their cost goes through the roof. Yeah, they now have to. Yeah, if they can't purchase it here domestically, then obviously they have to turn, and which they were already doing. That's why you saw that number was down originally from 13 down to 9, because obviously the U.S. manufacturers couldn't compete. Right. Because these companies aren't going to just do the right thing. Say, hey, I want to support here, U.S. domestically and pay a higher price. But now they're gonna be forced to do so. But what does at the expense? What does that expense come at? The price, the retail price. It passes along to consumers, and will the manufacturing side be able to keep up with those additional costs?
Yep. The answer is no. No, they can't. They can't keep up with the cost, and the problem is, you look at China. Okay, China, what they produce. All right, China's the largest producer of steel in the world. Okay, they produce 45% of the world's steel. Okay, they produce over 700 million tons. Okay. 700 million tons at a profit or at a cost that is significantly lower than anybody else. Okay, they have very good high quality steel. All right, this is not steel that steel is made in China. Steel is steel, bro. Okay, steel is steel. And when you bring up that steel to different types of specs, like for instance, you all know if you listen to this show that I'm a watch collector. Yeah, right now I have my Deep Blue. This is a micro brand from Brooklyn, New York. This is their NATO diver. It's using a 316L stainless steel. I also have my Rolexes, which are using a 904. Where do you think they're sourcing the steel from? Well, Rolex has their own foundry, but where are they getting the raw material from? They're getting their raw material from China. That's where they get it from. Where do you think any one of these car manufacturers, they're stamping steel for frames and platforms and suspension components and engine components? Where's it coming from? 700 million. That means that China has tens of thousands of steel mills. We have 9. 9. at a very, very miserable output with no real massive output whatsoever. And this is why It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Yeah, and very interesting the statistics that's listed on here in here, because I think about it, and it's like one of those things that you realize that how many multinational companies send their final product to China for either finishing products or shipping. So how much does China import, from multinational companies, including the U.S.? And it was estimated back in 2017 that China was the largest U.S. trading partner in goods, edging out Canada and then Mexico. The United States exported 130.4 billion in goods to China, but it imported nearly 4 times as much as that. So how much of that export will hurt when China places direct tariffs on any particular, U.S. items, U.S. goods, such as soy, wheat, those items that are solely exported, that aren't used for other things other than just trade. So it'll be very interesting to see how this folds out, because in particular, it's getting mixed reviews. There's a lot of people that are like, hey, you know what? We're glad we're having this tough talk. Where I think the primary concern comes into play is that, what happens to manufacturing here in the United States? Does it truly help or does it hurt? And in my opinion, I believe it's going to hurt, because obviously their cost of producing these goods is going to go up. And in turn, that's going to be turn around and affect us in the terms of higher prices and inflation.
Yeah, absolutely, my man. And here's the funny thing. This is a similar play. Okay, it's a very similar play to the whole energy fiasco in Europe. So the U.S. sanctions Russia to the point where Russia's trying. They're trying to, between the war in Syria, the sanctioning of Russia, they're trying to create a situation where the European market is not dependent upon Russian energy, and the European market will switch to American energy. And people say, oh, that's a good thing. But American energy is far too unreliable, far too expensive, and they cannot produce it in the volumes needed to support the market. And the Europeans are like, wait a minute, you want us to give up the cheap Russian natural gas and switch to you guys, but you guys are twice as much in terms of price, and you guys are incredibly unreliable. And the U.S. is like, yeah, because we're friends, we want you to do this. It's insanity. It's absolutely insanity. Okay, so that is the whole entire deal of this whole entire situation. So it doesn't make any sense, man. And in the long term here, now, if your goal is to wreck, to wreck the economy, then you've done your part, because what it's going to do is going to cause more people. There's going to be less money chasing dollars. Okay, less money abroad chasing dollars. See, people depended upon your market, the market of the United States, in order to function, right? But what happens when that market is, I don't know, tapped out, overextended on credit, right? What's gonna happen to, and then you make it difficult for them to dump their wares over here? That's gonna be a problem.
Bingo.
Mm-hmm.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
What happens when they won't need the dollar anymore?
Exactly correct. Anyway, moving on to the next one. See what we got.
You want to put out discuss the Goldman Sachs warning?
Yes. Yeah, this is actually pretty important.
There you go.
The unexpected warning from Goldman Sachs, from our guys over at Zero Hedge: markets themselves will cause the next crash. Started out nearly 9 years ago to the day when, the April 2009, we wrote the incredibly shrinking market liquidity, or the upcoming black swan of black swans, in which we explained how, as a result of the growing influence of HFT quants and central banks, the market itself was breaking. And we also highlighted that the culmination of the market's breakage could look like this. Liquidity disruptions could and will lead to unexpected market aberrations, such as exorbitant bid and ask margins, which is happening. Inability to unwind large block positions. And last but not least, explosive volatility in the essence of recreation of the market conditions approximating the days of August 2007 and the days of the post-Lehman collapse. We even laid out some likely catalysts for a possible market crash, continued deleverage in quant funds, significant pre-market volatility swings as quants rebalance their end-of-day positions, increasing program trading on decreasing relative overall trading volumes. Let that sink in. Increasing program trading on decreasing relative overall trading volumes. Think about that. 1 month ago, we saw all the above elements briefly come together when on February the 5th, the market finally did break as this topology was torn apart by various desperate elements, resulting in virtually all the above materializing, if only for a short time. To be sure, as time passed, others joined our warnings that the market is becoming increasingly broken. Yes, it's totally broken, shattered, it's fake, it's held together by electronic duct tape. With some of the most notable warnings coming from the likes of Bank of America's Benjamin Bowler. And it goes into charts and graphs, and this is what Goldman's been talking about as well. The next market crash is going to be themselves caused by machines. Why is that? When you have HFTs, which are literally at this point out of control, and HFTs are just one little slice of the pie. Actually, it's a big slice of the pie, but it's just a slice of the pie. It's not the whole pie. And if you think HFTs are bad, folks, may I remind you of dark pools? You might say, what is it? What is a dark pool? Well, a dark pool is basically private equity pools that are in these investment houses where off hours market bids, market trades are taking place. And then there are aberrations that are created within the dark pool that are then released out into the open water of the regular equity markets. Now think about that. You're taking stock out of the market. You're putting it into a private pool held at your investment firm. You're trading it amongst yourself off hours. You're creating whatever discombobulations there are in every single instrument that you're trading in the dark pool. Then you're re-releasing it into an already discombobulated market. There is no more mark to market anymore. So we don't know what the true price and valuations of anything is. So what does it matter when we release what I call mutagenic equities? Okay? Mutagenic equities with various variations in value. The triple V right there. The various valuations of value. Mutagenic equities with various valuations of value. You release these sharks back into an already toxic, volume-based, illiquid market. What do you have? You have massive, massive, massive problems. Okay? The situation in the market is only getting worse, and we're seeing this because in the midst of this hodgepodge, where there's no mark to market, there's no real price discovery, there is nothing. Just HFT, just dark pools. Excuse me. What do you have? You have a controlled chaos in a way. And you're having an overheating machinery. The machinery is starting to overheat. The pipes are starting to burst. The steam is starting to come out. And we're seeing some of the steam being released by what I was talking about last week, which was the deleveraging of the LIBOR OIS ratio. LIBOR OIS trades are all coming apart. It has affected, because the LIBOR scandal has affected over $8 $100 trillion in equities that are out floating around the world. All of it, pretty much all of it, is valued in the dollar. Folks, we got a real problem here. The situation of 2008 never rectified and or fixed itself. What has happened is that politicians have exacerbated the problem, and now we have all sorts of gremlins in the system. So the question becomes, which is the gremlin that's going to take us out? The answer is we don't exactly know. You see, when you're in a flock of black swans, you cannot pick a particular black swan to take you out. Because when you're in the flock of black swans, the danger's everywhere. The danger's everywhere. And we're getting to the middle of 2018, and Siege, has a physical economy beginning to spring up, or are we still in the same situation where we were in 2012?
We are in the same exact situation, if not worse, V.
Bingo. Siege, the economic GDP growth that has been corrected and put out, is it higher or is it the same as it was in 2012?
It's lower, V.
Bingo. So the question becomes then, my man, are we expanding economically or are we continuing to contract?
Oh, we're contracting major at this point.
Bingo. Houston, or let me say DC, Washington, D.C., we have a problem. America, are you hearing me? We have a problem. We have a problem. And meanwhile, in the land of amateurs, we have the androgynous Jared Kushner out there brokering peace for all of us. In the midst of chaos, what is this schmuck doing?
Well, we know that Rex Tillerson's departure had a lot to do with Jared in terms of him, managing, foreign diplomacy. And when you think about it, V, I mean, I think this is the first time, not the first time, but, where we witnessed a White House advisor serve primarily a role as more of a, either, a role of a foreign dignitary. And if that's his role, then we should assign him as that. This article just kind of explains how Kushner has forged a bond, with the Saudi crown prince. And this all stems from a meeting in Germany where Trump wasn't able to make it. So Ivanka and Jared had to take the lead as far as meeting with MBS, the other dignitaries, them forming this bond, and this continuing to his most recent visit here in the United States, where Jared in part will be participating in the majority of travel and dinners set up for MBS. Now, some people are crediting that to they're both in their 30s. His ability to communicate, with them, talking about different social issues. I don't know. I don't think that this is in part. I think that these meetings, what's transpiring here, needs to be a little bit more on the surface, because now we're relying on Jared Kushner to come back and talk to the White House, to talk to about the information that's being conveyed. And we all know his history and the amount of corruption that follows, his family. It's just very interesting to see this unfold and a questioning as to, foreign policy and the shift that has occurred with, Kushner and him taking a leading role in that, even though he is just a White House advisor.
He's going to save us all, Siege. He's going to save us all. This kid who doesn't know his elbow from his rectum. I mean, this kid's a dunderhead. What does QAnon say? Does he have a latest post out?
No, I've lost track. I have fallen off the QAnon train. I haven't been following it. I looked at it briefly for a minute last night, and then I shut it down. But I didn't see any updates. Do you want to bring it up?
He's saying something about why are trips allowed? Whitelist. Trust the plan. Is this the plan? Having Jared Kushner broker Middle East peace? Is this the plan that we have an economic malarchy? Is this the plan? It's absolutely beyond me, CJ. Absolutely beyond me.
Yeah, and and it can be done. I read in Zero Hedge, I think it was today, where the former France president was arrested.
Yeah.
Did you see that article? I mean,
so
if it can happen, and I think it was in part due to foreign money coming into their elections. I mean, why can't we do those things? Why can't we arrest Hillary Clinton? Why can't we arrest Barack Obama for the crimes that they committed? Well, I mean, I don't
because
get
the French government is run by effeminate idiots. Our government is run by tyrannical, crazy, psychopathic tyrants. See, in France, they'll arrest you because it is liberty, fraternity, equality. We will get you and we will arrest you because you have the corruption, and we will censor you because it is not about the liberty and being liberal in a liberal society. But in the United States, our government's far worse. See, the French government is they're pansies. Okay, so they're going to get you. They're going to censor you, or you will not be allowed to tweet. Look what they did to what's her name? Oh my God, what is her name? Marine Le Pen. She tweeted something about ISIS, and they want to throw her in jail. I mean, that's the pansy, extreme left. They'll do stuff like that, and then she'll have a plea deal. She'll pay some money to these idiots, and then she won't face any jail time whatsoever. Our government's different. You see, you go after political figures in our country, you know what happens to you? They kill you. You see, you go after political leaders and try to expose political leaders in our country, you're going to wind up like Seth Rich. You're going to wind up like Michael Hastings. You could be driving along in your Tesla or your electronically equipped Mercedes, and all of a sudden they hack your car. Your car goes from 40 miles an hour to 150 miles an hour and hits a lamppost, and you're dead. They kill you. See, at least in France, you can, bring some pressure on some political dissidents. You have a chance of throwing somebody in jail. At least in Iceland, you have a chance of throwing somebody in jail. In the good old USJ, dude, who has any politician been to jail in my lifetime, in our lifetime? The only guy I remember was Bob Traficant. Robert Traficant. Y'all remember Bob Traficant from back in the early 90s? They lambasted him, and he was a Democrat. What was his big thing? It was exposing the IRS. You see, you can't say nothing about the criminals. They'll kill you. And if you're a politician, they'll either kill you or lock you up and to totally discredit you. Enjoy it, folks. This is your government. Enjoy it, because this is what happens when people get lazy. This is what happens when they allow government to run out of control. This is what happens when people are not paying attention to their government and they're not holding their government's feet to the fire of the Constitution, and saying, okay, what you're doing right now is unconstitutional. You better knock it off or you're out. People are going lazy because, see, the government likes using catchphrases. It's national security. We got to do this for your protection. It's national security. National security. You see, if we had a strong national defense, you make our military the most vaunted, most powerful military on the planet, but from a defensive posture, nobody would screw with you. You have border walls in the north and the south, nobody would screw with you. You have an industrial base You have manufacturing. You have, you create some of the best schools that creates the best scientists and engineers in the world and the best businessmen in the world. Nobody would screw with you. But alas, we do not live in such a beautiful type of society that I just described. We live. How many people do the federal government employ? See, it's a massive number. It's grown so huge.
Yeah, they're one of the largest employment group, in terms of and especially with dollars. When you look at dollars, it's like overwhelmingly, huge amount of money that pours just into the federal government.
Yep. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to take out my phone here. I'm going to ask Google. How many people does the federal government employ?
11,000 people. Here's a summary from U.S. Wall
Did you hear
Street
that?
Journal.
2,711,000 people is what the federal government employs. I mean, think about that. 2,711,000 people. This is a bloated bureau, and it was much higher under Obama. Believe me, it was over 3 million. With obscene pensions. So let me ask you a question with the pension stuff. Siege is okay. So they fired McCabe. He's not getting his pension. Thank God. Is he going to jail?
That is yet to be announced. They keep stating that they're waiting for the information to come back from the inspector general. But here's the thing, is that still to this date, the FBI has refused to hand over thousands of documents as it pertains to the entire investigation of the Trump administration leading up to the actual FISA warrant that was issued. The FBI is continuing to refuse to do that. And here's the amazing thing is that I hear these political pundits talk about whether Trump should move forward and fire Mueller or not. And we keep hearing this conversation regarding, well, no, he can't do that because the inspector general is reviewing this, and we don't know what's happening in the background as far as the partnership with Mueller. And it's like, wait a minute, let's pause right there, because the entire investigation was launched on a false premise that there was collusion that occurred between the administration and the Russians, when in fact the collusion was between, the FBI, the Department of Justice, and the former administration. That's what needs to be investigated. That's what we need to do, is to fire Mueller, go ahead and appoint a special prosecutor to go ahead and start looking in to Obama, to Hillary, the DNC, to bring these facts up. Why is no one talking about that? Why are we continuing to talk about, Russia this, Russia that? Now we have this new thing about Facebook. Zuckerberg, sold, I believe, 330 million in stock yesterday, and in part because they're saying that
330 million in stock. Interesting. That's a sign.
So they're stating that, in fact, the reason why he did that was because it was released that somehow this advertisement company, this marketing company, that somehow was able to get this data from Facebook, and this company, this marketing company, actually supported the Trump administration. Come on, can we please stop with this? Do we really think Facebook was able to dictate the election that occurred? I mean, what level of stupidity will they continue to throw at us? I mean, enough is enough. Our country cannot move forward. We need to fire Mueller. We need to go ahead and if they move to impeach Trump, the Patriots will be there. The Patriots will be able to defend this, because we can't move forward. Look at everything that keeps occurring and escalating, V, because we have this situation where they cannot allow Trump to communicate with Russia, no diplomacy with China. And where has that landed us? Absolutely nowhere. So let's fire Mueller. Let's move our country forward so that we can, begin an era of peace and prosperity, of what we were truly wanting. That's what we voted for Trump. That's what we wanted. We wanted accountability. We wanted transparency, and we wanted humanity to be able to move forward and prosper an era and get away from this war-driven economy that has gripped this country for the last several years, V.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Brings us to the next shenanigans, man. It's the last one on the items here is the American investors are not interested in Saudi Aramco. For more than a year, Saudi Arabia has claimed that its oil giant Aramco is worth around $2 trillion and that the initial public offering will be held in the second half of 2018. Folks, what did I tell you? Okay, look, they were looking like they're not going to get that $2 trillion. And they're trying to push it out, the IPO, till 2019. And here's the deal. Okay, here is the deal. What did I tell you? What's going to happen with Aramco is they are going to be taken over by China's going to head that piece up. Okay, China's going to head up that piece. They're going to get a piece of Aramco. They're going to get a good chunk of Aramco, and they're going to get it for a lot less than $2 trillion. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised that they snatch Aramco for a few hundred billion. They'll get it. Just keep watching. Anyway, with that being said, Siege, that brings us to the end of the program. What do we got lined up?
Yeah, so we're gonna get with Dex. Hopefully, we can bring you a trading Terradome today, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. However, yesterday we had some great shows. If you haven't listened to them yet, go back. London Paul delivered a great show talking about a lot of things geopolitically, and then also go check out the Rogue Coin show that the guys did yesterday with the trading room. So go check those out. Make sure you share those. It's just so important right now to work towards solutions because again, we have some time. And let's take advantage of that.
Yep. Absolutely. And with that being said, folks, we are over and out. Take it away, Siege.